Welcome back to the Thinking Crypto podcast, your home for cryptocurrency news and interviews. Big news to share with you all. I want to share some thoughts from an economist who was on CNBC today talking about a situation with the Fed and what they might do with interest rates and so forth, and how that could drive the prices of Bitcoin and gold higher. It's very bullish statements, and I want to play the clip for you and break it down. We're also going to talk about NFTs, specifically with Snoop Dogg, the hip hop artist, on the Cardano blockchain. Big news if you're an ADA token holder. I also want to talk about Gary Gensler being sent a letter from members of Congress about what he's doing with crypto. More pushback on Gensler and the SEC, which is what we've been talking about, guys. This is good news. And I also want to share some big investment news with Kevin O'Leary from Shark Tank, what he's doing in Canada with crypto exchanges. It's really big, a lot of capital being deployed here. Before we get to it, please go ahead and hit the thumbs up button, leave a comment below, and hit the subscribe button if you're new here. It helps support the channel and it doesn't cost you anything. Quick word from our sponsor, and that is Capital, which allows you to invest in an IRA. Essentially, you're trading cryptocurrencies within a retirement account, and as a result, you get huge tax benefits and savings. Capital is a great platform. They have 25 plus cryptocurrencies, a full mobile wallet, an app, and so forth. Both are for iOS and Android. They also have institutional grade security. They use Coinbase, custody, and Fireblocks to secure your assets, so you don't have to worry about hacks or losing your crypto. This is what the big time institutional investors use for their custody, right? So that's what Capital is using. And best of all, guys, it is free to sign up. There are no fees. There are no monthly fees, no subscription fees. It is free to sign up. And if you use my link in the description, you can get a $100 funding bonus. So be sure to check out Capital. It's a great platform. And once again, you get is a lot of tax savings. So be sure to check it out. Link will be in the description. Now let's look at the market here. Bitcoin seeing a bit of a bounce. It's currently at $40,903. Ethereum at just over $3,000. And the rest of the alts are moving. But obviously nothing significant or to call home about, because we've been tracing or looking at, I should say, and monitoring Bitcoin and its retracement. We see so far for this week, there is a green candle forming. In yesterday's video, I told you guys we could see a bounce after the tax selling was completed. I wouldn't say the tax selling was the catalyst to drive the prices down. It certainly added pressure to it. I think market cycles are just playing out. And if we look at Bitcoin on the daily chart here, Bitcoin is just ranging right now, and it's moving in this respective channel, and it's just choppy, bouncing up and down, heading to its retracement, which could be about 50 to 55K, at which point I'll be taking profits. And I'm expecting an alt season to follow here. But, you know, we'll see if that plays out according to how we're thinking about it. You know, we're using past performance as an indicator, but that doesn't give you a guarantee that things are going to perform the same way. So the TLDR, the takeaway here, guys, is to be patient and let's see how things play out and look at the metrics and the facts as they get updated. Here, I wanted to share this from BTC Fuel, who's a great analyst, saying Bitcoin is holding support like a boss. So showing that channel or that range Bitcoin's been in, it's holding the respective supports, higher highs and higher lows, respective to this timeline. I'm not talking about overall for the cycle, but just the past 3 to 4 months, guys. So you can see it ranging. So I expect over 50K sooner than later, but you never know what Bitcoin could do. But good to see, at least on the charts here, on the daily chart, it's holding its support. Now, from a macro perspective, when you look at, you know, a larger timeline, like a 3-month view on the chart, and looking at it from over all the within all the bull cycles, we see here Bitcoin is kind of at a really fair value right now, which is the orange line. So this analyst shared the following. He's saying this chart shows the Bitcoin price with a top red and a floor green power law fit. You can roughly calculate the fair value by clicking on the following link. And you can see here, guys, we are in that middle range where would be a decent accumulation phase, not really a great one, because ideally you want to be accumulating below the orange line when it's around the green, right? You're buying the lows, but this is not bad at all. Some may argue, hey, this thing is going into a bear market, so it's not a good buying opportunity. I would say it's a good buying opportunity if you're willing to hold years. If you're not willing to hold years and you're looking to do a trade, maybe over 6 to 12 months, probably not a good place to buy, right? But if you're looking, hey, I'm buying this and I'm not touching this for 4 years or 5 years, it's a good opportunity, right? Because we've seen those opportunities have led to higher prices and Bitcoin's continued growth over the years, and along with altcoins. Now, the interesting part of this chart, guys, it just shows we haven't hit a true blow off top. You just don't see that mountain peak, right? That peak that touches that red line. So it looks like almost like this is a local top or a local blow off top, and we haven't hit that true cycle peak. But hey, look, Bitcoin has moved in that way historically. That does not mean it has to do it again, right? Bitcoin doesn't operate by our rules and our laws and so forth to a certain degree. So we'll see what happens. Obviously, I want to see a blow off top, but it doesn't look likely. We may have to wait for maybe the 2024 cycle halving and so forth, but we'll see what happens. Maybe things are lengthening, things are playing out differently. The 4-year cycles are broken. But just something I want to share with you guys, because it's important to look at things from a macro perspective. Now, here's another great chart that was introduced by another analyst saying, introducing an upgraded version of my Bitcoin aggregated risk model, navigate Bitcoin cycles without a hassle. And you can see here, there's a color scale showing the blue is where you really want to be buying Bitcoin. And obviously the red, the yellow into the orange into the red is where you're heading into that peak and the blow off tops. And that's where you want to sell. So once again, a little bit of blue here, but look, there was a bit of blue before Bitcoin went into that brutal bear market, in 2018 to 2019. So we'll see, my friends. Maybe we have hit our blow off top. It doesn't look like the other ones historically, but we'll see what happens. Nevertheless, that is why I keep saying in that retracement, guys, I'm going to be taking profits, because I don't know if $100,000 Bitcoin is happening anytime soon. But look, sometimes Bitcoin does the contrary to what people and the masses and the herd are looking for, right? So people are bearish now. They don't see $100,000 in the future, and maybe it does it this year. Anything is possible, especially in the environment we're in right now. And speaking of that environment, guys, let me play the clip here of economist Mohammed El-Arian, if I'm saying his name right. He's often on CNBC, Bloomberg, and so forth. And the question that was posed to him by Andrew Ross Sorkin was, what happens, or Andrew Sorkin, I should say, what happens to crypto and gold if the Fed raises its inflation target from 2% to 3%? He said they both go higher. Let me play the clip for you so you guys can hear it directly from the horse's mouth.
So what would force them to change their target, and what would that target be?
So what will force them to change that target is the recognition that by being so late, they can't get to that target and that credibility is threatened. They will also worry that by hitting the brakes too hard, they may push this economy not just into a short-term recession, but into a longer-term recession. And they will be very tempted, and lots of people will push them to raise that target from 2 to 3 as a way out. Now, that's not going to be an easy way out, and it's going to be incredibly controversial. But that's what you get when you waited too long to recognize what inflation is and to take action. We should have started QT last year. We didn't, and we're now bearing the consequences of the Fed being so late.
Okay, Mohammed, if you're right and they do that, what happens to gold and what happens to crypto on that day?
They both go higher in a world like that.
Mohamed El-Erian, it is always great to see you and get your perspective on all.
So there you have it, guys. Interesting statements. And we know the Fed can't stop printing money. As much as they want to raise rates and all that jazz, they will continue to print and asset prices will continue to go up. Now, there is some nuance to that. Will we see what we saw last year, massive run up? Probably not, but this narrative plays into the retracement. So hope you guys see what I'm saying there. And we could see prices for assets go up, within that retracement. And then, I don't know, we'll see what happens after that recession, bear markets, yada, yada. We'll just have to wait and see. Now, here's some interesting news. Snoop Dogg and Clay Nation launch NFT collection on the Cardano blockchain. So Cardano is getting adoption, building is happening. In fact, I'm in contact with the folks at IOHK to get a follow-up interview with Charles Hoskinson. I interviewed him last year, or was it just a few months ago? My timeline's a bit off. Let's see here. I interviewed him 5 months ago. So I'm hoping to do a follow-up and learn about the $100 million wave fund, which we reported on, and how that's going to be help build out the Cardano blockchain and ecosystem. And of course, this is bullish news if you're an ADA token holder. All great news. Now, Gary Gensler and the SEC getting called out even further. Republican leader Patrick McHenry and Representative Bill Huizenga, if I'm saying that right, Huizenga, I apologize if I butcher that, raised concerns with the impact of recent SEC rulemakings on the digital asset ecosystem, including DeFi, in a public comment letter. I love this. This is what we've been talking about for over a year since the Ripple lawsuit, guys, that the SEC is out of control. Gary Gensler is out of control. He's trying to really roadblock crypto, right? Protecting the incumbents, but he's getting called out by the media, retail investors, members of Congress. In fact, I had interviewed a congressman who is part of a bipartisan group that sent a letter to Gary Gensler. Just 3 weeks ago, I interviewed Congressman Byron Donalds, and him and Tom Emmer, Darren Soto, and so forth. They sent a letter to Gary Gensler about his crypto reporting requirements for these different companies. And he's getting called out again. So good news, guys. This is what we want. And Representative Bill Huizenga, he tweeted out directly. He said, Gary Gensler, even tagged him, is trying to rewrite existing laws in order to expand his jurisdiction over digital asset market participants. Recent rushed rulemaking will expand SEC authority, leaving Congress on the sidelines. See Patrick McHenry and my response below. This is what members of Congress need to do to keep the SEC in check. And in fact, I hope that with the Biden executive order, many of these regulatory bodies have to come together, and the power shifts, a lot of that power is taken away from the SEC and spread out to the other agencies. So this is good news. Ron Hammond, who's a frequent guest on my show, guys, he's obviously head of government relations at the Blockchain Association. He often gives an update every week on what's happening with crypto in Capitol Hill. He said, this week in Congress and crypto, there has been a lot of media attention these past several months on crypto lobbying and advocacy efforts in DC. The explosion in jobs and money is real. Having been in this space for 5 years, here are some trends we're seeing on the ground. He said, one, before the pandemic, there wasn't much in terms of lobbying in DC compared to other financial services issue areas. There were trade associations like Blockchain Association, think tanks like Coin Center, some multi-client firms and with crypto clients, and rare in-house lobbyists. Number two, in total, it was 20 people or so who actively worked on these issues on a daily basis. That number has since exploded since the pandemic, and the catalyst was definitely the infrastructure bill fight in 2021, which woke up the industry, the reason why engagement with DC is crucial. So we're seeing more crypto activity in DC, and that is advocacy, education, lobbying, which, these crypto companies have to do. They have to come together because look, the incumbents, the banking sector, and many of these folks, payday loans and all that jazz, they are lobbying hard. I mean, just look at Brad Sherman, right? He's one of the guys who's a puppet for those folks. So we gotta be out there, and Ron and the folks are doing this. And he continues, it's a long thread here. I'm not going to read through everything, but he's saying there's a lot of advocacy happening. A lot of companies are jumping in, like Digital Currency Group, FTX Exchange, Coinbase, Ledger, Cello, Gemini, Kraken, Consensus, Circle, Crypto.com, and more. So a lot of folks in the crypto industry are going on the offense now, guys. And this is great. This is what we need. And this, in conjunction with the SEC getting pressure from Congress, is all good news for the market. Now, Kevin O'Leary, who's of course heavily invested in crypto now in multiple ways. He's invested in FTX Exchange. He said 20% of his portfolio includes crypto, the actual tokens. And here we have news that Kevin O'Leary's WonderFi to have a 33% market share in Canada via the acquisition of a crypto exchange. So not only is he investing in companies in the United States, but also in Canada. And once the deal is finalized, WonderFi will own 2 out of the 6 registered cryptocurrency trading platforms in Canada. Smart move on his part. There's a land grab happening here, my friends. Big time competition. Lots of capital being deployed to obviously acquire these companies, right, and add them to your portfolio. So WonderFi has entered a definitive agreement to purchase Coinberry for $25.54 million. The exchange was founded in 2017, currently services 220,000 Canadian clients, and has posted over $1 billion in transactions to date. And they continue to make the investments. And this type of news makes me so bullish. I know some people are like, oh, who cares? I don't care about Kevin O'Leary. I don't care about WonderFi. That's okay. You don't have to love them or follow them. But what you need to know is, what are they doing? What are they buying? What are they investing? Where are they expanding to? What licenses are they getting? Right? Because these folks know what's coming up. They don't care about the price being down this week. They're looking macro level. And that is how Kevin O'Leary and other institutional investors have beat out retail for years and years and years, right? That's how the game's played. So I hope you're looking macro level as well. Speaking of institutional investors and macro investors, Dan Moorhead from Pantera Capital. I've interviewed Dan. He's a great guy. And he was one of the first investors in the crypto market. Well, he's now about to close his blockchain fund after raising $1.3 billion. Double the target. Do I even have to say more? Look at what is happening here, my friends. So Pantera Capital CEO Dan Moorhead expects the $1.3 billion blockchain fund to close over the next 3 or 4 weeks once the due diligence from large institutions has been wrapped up. Did he say retail investors? No, he said large institutions. If you haven't seen my interview with Dan, please check it out. Dan's a great guy. And this interview was from a year ago. I'm going to try to get a follow-up interview with him. But let me give you some details of how they're going to invest this money, because sometimes people think, oh, it's just an equity. They're going to invest in just equity in the companies. No, these funds are investing in the tokens. So the Pantera Blockchain Fund was announced in May last year, which with plans to raise $600 million to invest in early stage tokens, venture equity, Web3 firms, and tokens with strong liquidity. It has since surpassed the target significantly, with the firm revealing last month that the fund had topped $1 billion. The latest $1.3 billion figure was noted during a Tuesday investor call regarding the company's new $200 million Pantera Select Fund that will back growth stage crypto firms that are ready to generate revenue, as opposed to firms in early funding stages that have being sought out via the blockchain fund. This type of news makes me so bullish. And when I see this, I'm quietly DCAing and buying the dips where I can, and having that long-term outlook. And obviously, not financial investment advice. You have to do your own research and make decisions based on your financial situation. Now, finally, Terra's stablecoin UST is now the third largest stablecoin after surpassing BUSD, which is the Binance stablecoin in market cap. So obviously, Terra Luna has been killing it. I wish I bought a huge bag of Luna. Oh my gosh, that's one of the things I regret. I really regret that. That and Solana, those two have been going crazy. But Do Kwon, they've been buying Bitcoin to back or use as their stable coin reserves. And obviously, their UST is, I think, the most decentralized stable coin. So I think they're doing some really cool things. And I hope to interview Do Kwon at some point. But that's the news, my friends. Let me know what you all think. Do you agree with the economists here talking about, look, the Fed, based on what they might try to do because they're a bit late to the game here, we could see prices go up, and that narrative fits once again Bitcoin's retracement. So not guaranteed, but we'll see what happens. Let me know what you think. Leave your thoughts and comments below. Hit the thumbs up button, share this video, and I'll talk to you all later.